Shalom, shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is our weekly Shabbat class. This is our Supernatural Saturday, where we go into supernatural things. It's not like our Thursday night class, where it's kind of catered toward reading the Bible and understanding the verses. This is where we go into a little bit more depth so that we can understand what we are about to endure and encounter. We invite everyone to the class. We ask for everyone to please be respectful of one another. If you have any background noise, please put your phone on mute. And then we can go from there. I'm glad to be able to do this. Last week we dealt with Jacob and the choosing of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to be able to give birth to the Israel and the one-third so that we can redeem them back to a status. And it's very important that we understand about the house of Israel, because that is a royal status, a kingdom royal status. You know, there is no house of Israel on the earth as of yet, because it has not come, but it will be coming. And as a result of it coming, we understand exactly what it meant. We will be in the New Testament. We will be in the book of Revelation. And we're going through this very slowly because I want you guys to understand what this means and how this goes. Please feel free to ask questions. You know, just give me a minute. I don't want to have to mute everybody and then unmute them. You know how we do it. So I just wanted to say that, like I said, everyone is welcome to the class. We look forward to the day when we run out of room for people. But in the meantime, we are grateful for the people who have come today and who have been consistent participants. So we say thank you, shalom, 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 all that good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up my screen so you guys can see the actual screen and where we're going to start from. If you cannot see the screen, you are more than welcome to email us at the Yehudah Project, and someone will send you information on how to visibly see the screen. And then anybody have any questions? All right, anybody have any questions? No? All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up the screen. Can you see the screen now? Yes. No? Yes? Okay, good. It says 1,000-year reign. This is a very controversial topic, and it doesn't have to be because it's very clear. For people who don't believe in the New Testament, it can be very controversial, but we're going to try to clear up some things as we go through this lesson and this learning. It's because of the gathering of the one-third and all of that. You know, we'll be able to I hope we can put some things into perspective. So I'm definitely going to do my best to try, you know, and, you know, if you have any issues, you know, I ask that we hold it off until after the class is over, you know, so we can keep the flow going. So the 1,000-year reign is what we're talking about, the gathering of the one-third. It says the government assembly. Now, from my understanding and from my teaching and from my studying, the one-third will be the ones who will reign with Yahweh Shai in his 1,000-year reign. I'm going to be able to prove that in the scriptures, but then I want to go through certain scriptures to be able to prove that and to show you that in the Old Testament. I have to go through the Old Testament to be able to bring forth the New. I'm still really not in the New Testament as of yet, because it's very important that we bring this information out and then be able to see it right where we are. So it's called the government assembly. Okay, the 1,000-year reign. Now, a lot of my information I get online, so where you see Yah at, they usually have God or Jesus. And since we don't call him by that name, I just replace it with Yah. It was too much, and I could put Yahweh Shai, you know, or whatever, but whichever way you want to do it is fine with me. It says the 1,000-year reign. It says the 1,000-year reign of Yahweh Shai, also known as the millennial or the millennial kingdom, is a period of time between the tribulation and the destruction of the world when Yahweh Shai reigns over all the earth. Now, the purpose of the 1,000-year reign is to allow for the fulfillment of several promises that Yah made with Israel, the Gentile, and the creation. And a lot of people say, well, wait a minute, the Gentiles, you mean the Gentiles going to make it and Israel ain't going to make it? We get ready to go into all of that and try to explain all of that so that we make sure we get that understood, because I can understand how some people can feel that way. You know, how can they make it and Israel ends up dying? That's not going to work. So we're going to get to that. We're going to try to get to that part of it as well. It says the purpose of the 1,000-year reign is to fulfill the promise Yah made to the world that cannot be fulfilled as long as humans have political authority. So this is a period that we're living in now where there are human governments. And we have royal governments. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, how some of these people are royalty and they feel like they have the right to rule because of their bloodline. And that how some people, there's a difference between the common everyday man and the royal person. Or there's a difference between the common everyday person and the president of the United States. There's a separation of difference. But as long as any of that exists, there will not be a 1,000-year reign. Because he's not going to share this with anybody, according to the scriptures. So I want to make sure that we clear that up. I got a couple more here. And it says, a time of perfect peace. Now Yahushua will rule this entire earth from the city of Jerusalem. He, and he alone, will be the only official ruler. Now everybody says, well, where's Yah at? Because we know, at least I believe anyway, that Yah is the Father. Now, I have no questions about that. There's no argument with me about that. But because the way we believe, according to the scripture, is because of what he went through when he walked the earth, he was granted the right to have a kingdom on the earth, and he will have this time to rule for 1,000 years. Now, once that 1,000 years is over, the scripture says he will prepare everything in place, and he will turn it all over to Yah, to the Father. That's when the city comes down. That's when you have the 12 gates and all that, and Yah will rule it all. It will be no more of that. And that's when the new heaven and the new earth, this earth will become the kingdom. This will be the kingdom, because right now the kingdom where Yah is in a whole other dimension that we don't have access to. But we believe that once he gets everything together, I don't know who that was that called in. Would you please put your phone on mute? I don't know who Sweet Pea is, but we have to mute your phone. It's making way too much noise. So you'll have to use the chat line if you're going to participate in the class, because it's just too much noise in the background. Okay, let me start over. So we believe that once those 1,000 years are over, we're going to prove it in the scriptures, that he will wrap everything up. He will hand it over to Yah. There will be a new heaven and a new earth. That's when the city is going to come down, and this will in turn be the kingdom. This will be the head of the universe. This will be the center of the universe, and everything will go back to the way it was before a third of the stars were flung by the dragon's tail. Want to be able to set that up? Okay. All right, so let's keep going. And I asked everybody, and I know some people who don't believe in the New Testament, and I'm not here to change your thoughts or anything, but it's a really good story, and if you want to hear it out, you can. If it's offensive, we won't be upset if you don't want to hear it. I understand that. So let me keep going. Here we go. It says, and the king of this earth, men will no longer war with one another. Even the wild beasts like tigers and lions will be tamed. So it's going to be peace. Okay, so I just want to share that. Does anyone have any questions before we go further?
Yeah, but don't it say that same thing in the Old Testament? Or are you reading from the Old Testament?
I haven't even got to the scriptures yet, but it does. It says that in the Old Testament as well. Yes, definitely does. So I'm headed there. I'm gonna go to Old Testament, New Testament, Old Testament, New Testament, and we're definitely, because the Old Testament also prophesies about the 1,000-year reign and how it's going to be in the 1,000-year reign. So we're definitely going to go into that as well. So we'll be able to get into that. Any other questions?
One more, and I ain't gonna bother y'all no more tonight. You understand? But
I don't believe that.
Could it possibly that 1,000 years that he's talking about it just means that it's going to be forever? 1,000 years, we cannot even fathom 1,000 years reign. But
right. From
what I understand, is that the 1,000 years is just talking about what it means. What it means to me is that the reign is going to be forever. Peace will be in the earth forever. That's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, we're going to go through the scriptures, and we're going to definitely bring that out. We'll definitely be able to bring that out, and then we're going to cover it all. So I plan on bringing all of that out and making sure that we cover that, because, it's a lot to it, but we're going to get there. And believe me, I'm going to say this. I didn't just start studying this yesterday. I've been reading this particular topic since I was 14 years old. So I won't say I'm an expert at it, but I do have a little knowledge as to what the Bible says, per se. But I've learned a lot more from a different perspective since I've been an Israelite, and it began to make sense now. So I just want to be able to cover that, and I'm not saying I'm right, all of it is right. I just want to share, with you from the perspective that I learned it to be. Like I said, we just have to take it in, and everybody has to make up their own mind, pretty much.
And one more thing, you understand? We got to realize and recognize, you understand, that we're getting writings from peoples, you understand, other peoples, you understand, mainly the peoples that was there in ancient times. They put together some stuff, you understand. They put together these scriptures, you understand, because remember now, the Old Testament is in the Ark of the Covenant. You understand? So what we're getting here is what people have derived from that particular period and made and put together these things. You understand? And they're putting it together from their perspective at that particular time.
Mm-hmm. Well, now I won't say that the Old Testament is in the Ark of the Covenant. The only thing that's in the Ark of the Covenant is the law, and Aaron's rod that budded, and a bowl of manna. So the Old Testament from the Torah, if you're talking about the law, yes, that's in the Ark of the Covenant. But the story of the Old Testament is not in the Ark of the Covenant. So even the stories that we get from the Old Testament, from the time that he chose Abraham up until the time that he chose Jacob, all of that is also stories that were given that we believe are true stories, in the same with Deuteronomy chapter 28, that we go to all the time to validate us as being Israelites. That's not in the Ark of the Covenant. That is something that Moshe wrote to the children of Israel. And what I'm trying to say is that all I'm saying is take it in, and then once this is over with, we'll discuss it, and then we'll go from there. Because like I said, I'm not here to make anybody change what they believe. But
I need the clarification for myself. You understand?
I understand.
Making these comments and observations. You understand? I'm talking. Well, the Old Testament for me is the.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay, got
talking about the prophets. You understand? Right. Now they had prophets had come up with stories that have happened in that time and that region. You understand? That's not in the Ark of the Covenant. You understand?
No.
But the point that I was trying to make is that we're getting these things from the peoples that was in that time and in that region. You understand? And we're getting maybe a first-hand account, and maybe some of that stuff is transliterated at that particular time. So we got to be able to discern what is real and what is been transliterated. That's just my point.
And I agree. I'm getting ready to get started, and I agree, and I'm glad you brought that up, because from my perspective, this book is all we have.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's any book that's out there, whether you're reading from the Epic of Gilgamesh, or whether you're reading from the Apocrypha, or whether you're reading from any book that we receive in this lifetime that we read from, somebody wrote it. Now, they wrote it from their perspective. They wrote it from first-hand accounts. We don't know. But any writings that you read in this lifetime, since we've been alive, whether you get it from the library, whether you get it from the bookstore, wherever you get it from, somebody wrote that book that gives you the validation to believe it or not. And the reason why I say that is, as we move forward in this book, this is the only book that we have that validates us as being Israelites, with the scriptures that we have to go with. So this is the one we work from. This is the one we read from. And when it comes to prophecy, I tell this to everybody, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. When it comes to prophecy, it doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what I believe. If we live long enough, we're going to see whether or not it was real or not.
Absolutely.
That's how I look at it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So we'll know when this thing is all over with, whether it was first-hand account or whether it's something somebody made up. We're going to be able to see that if we keep on living.
Absolutely.
That's fair. All right, so let's go. Revelation chapter 16. It says that this is the revelation of Yahudah. That's what the Bible says. This is the book, the revelation, the testimony of Yahudah. So we know that this 1,000 years is going to be 1,000 years of peace, so says the Bible. But before there can be any peace, something is going to happen before there's going to be any peace. So I can't jump right into the millennial without actually going through the things that are going to happen before the millennial according to the Bible. So I'm going to I'm going to do Old Testament some, New Testament some, because one proclaims the other. So, like I said, when these are prophecies, supposedly, and if we keep living, we're going to see whether they're true or not. So I want you to write these down, or write down the scriptures, because as we go through these things that we're getting ready to go through in this lifetime, we can watch the signs and see if these prophecies come to pass. In his first chapter, Revelation chapter 16, he said, "And I heard a great voice out of the temple, saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Yah upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men that had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped the image. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea." So they killed out all the fish and everything. These are the plagues that are going to come. It said the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. Now this is reminding the same thing that went on when we were in Egypt. Very similar. Watch what he said. "And I heard the angel of the waters say, Thou art righteous, O Yah, which art and was and shall be, because thou hast judged this. For they have shed the blood of the saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy." Now he's not talking about Israel. He's talking about the other nations. This is something that's supposed to happen to the other nations as a result of what they have done to Israel. Watch. "And I heard another out of the altar say, Even so, Elohim, Yah Elohim Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and the power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And the men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of the Most High, which had power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. And the fifth angel poured out his veil upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed the Most High of heaven because of their pains and their swords, and repented not of their deeds. And the sixth angel poured out his veil upon the great river Euphrates, and the waters thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Well, hold on now. Who is the kings of the east? From Jerusalem. Then we talking about Russia. We talking about China, because they coming to fight. This is last day prophecy. They coming to fight. Who are they coming to fight against? Hello?
America.
They come to fight against Israel. They on their way to fight against. We talking about the Middle East now. We're in the Middle East right now. So they coming to fight against Jerusalem. Why are they coming to fight against Jerusalem? Exactly. There's got to be a war between the people who have been professing to be us all this time.
Well, they coming to fight against the Almighty. Fight against Israel, so the Almighty can wipe them all out.
Exactly. That's exactly what's getting ready to happen. So he's drying up the angels, he's drying up the water, making preparations for them to come and fight against Jerusalem. But they're not going to be fighting against us because we're not in Jerusalem.
Right. They're not us.
Where are we at this time? We're in two different, where are we at this time?
We're scattered.
I can't hear say it again?
We're scattered.
Wilderness. Some of us are scattered, and where are some of us at?
We're in the land of our captivity.
So that's the same thing, but where else are we?
In the wilderness.
Thank you. We're in the wilderness. Those that made it are in the wilderness. Those that didn't are still in the land where they are. Those that made it, I'm going to say it again, are in the wilderness. Those that did make it are still in the land of their captivity because they didn't come. Okay, watch. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet. Watch. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to battle of that great day of Yah Almighty. So the devil, the false prophet, and the beast is getting the whole world ready to fight against the Most High. Somebody's phone is making a little bit of noise.
Okay,
why?
Clarification. So is that when they're going to stop fighting each other and then turn to fight the Most High?
Yes. So there's going to be a world government. A world army, and what the whole purpose of the beast and the false prophet and the dragon is they're already going to have a world government set up. I didn't want to go all the way that far back because we just taught on that. They're going to have a whole government set up, and they're going to bring all of the armies together, and they're going to fight against the Most High. We're going to get to that. We're on our way. Hold on. Here we go.
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You know when they said that some of them were scattered? Remember the Tower of Babel? He said that he was going to scatter the one-third of them. But then there's a third from the heavens. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on. I think you mixed the apples and oranges again.
I don't think. Well, can you hear me out? Because that's what we had said was a third of them had been burned up. A third of them he had turned into elephants to look like elephants and monkeys. And then a third, I believe, was scattered.
From where?
Like from the Tower of Babel, the punishment.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah, okay, I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
now,
go ahead. So,
that was scattered from around the earth, is that the same as the Israelites, or is that a different group?
No. Again, you mix the apples and oranges. Okay, she said, okay, this is what she's saying. Y'all, you all help her. So she said, at the Tower of Babel, remember when he pronounced judgment on them? Some of them was changed into animals, and some of them was burned up, and it was a third of them that was left, and that is the third that he said he scattered. She said, is that the same as the third of the Israelites?
No.
Why? Tell her why. Because the Israelites weren't there at the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
We weren't there. That was the whole other nations, all the other nations in Genesis chapter 10. Those nations were the ones that he scattered. And it was 70 different nations, and over those 70 nations, he put 70 gods. And at that point, he chose Israel for his portion.
Right.
And the other nations, they scattered across the earth. Because everybody at the Tower of Babel wanted to stay there because Nimrod had a plan so that if the flood did come again, they could go up into the tower.
Right.
Exactly.
And they trusted Nimrod instead of trusting in Yah.
Right.
Exactly.
The reason why I asked is because there's the Israelites who are scattered across the four corners of the earth, and then there's these other people who are scattered across the face of the earth. It's easy to confuse those people from the Tower of Babel being scattered from the Israelites, and they can be confused with the Israelites because they're both scattered.
Well, it's only confusing because you're confusing the two. The thing about it, you have to remember this. With the other nations, they were sent off to build their own nations, and they had their own gods. And all through the whole Old Testament, it talks about Israel being scattered because we disobeyed Yah. So those people were sent off. They were sent off. The Chinese people don't look like us. The Japanese people don't look like us. The German people don't look like us. I mean, I could just go on and on. People from Holland don't look like us. All of those nations were sent off to be able to build their own nation and their own people, and they had their own tongues, and they had their own God. So you have to think about them as being gone. Those are the people of the other nations. Those are gone. When we focus on Israel, Israel is Israel. And that we are the lot of Yah's inheritance. He chose us to be his people. And this story is about us. The only time those other nations come into play when it comes to this story is either they're being used for a purpose to punish us, or they're going to be punished for the way they treated us, or they're going to be used in the end part of the story. That's it.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Or to make us jealous, because I could see that coming. I could see that coming our way. That he is making us jealous.
Absolutely.
Nowadays.
So think about it like that. Don't because you know what they'll do? The other nations will come along and try to mix up the story like that too. Well, how do you know they're not talking about us? Because we know you weren't sold. And we know that your children weren't put on auction blocks. And we know that your people weren't transported all over the Atlantic Ocean.
That's right.
That's how we know. See, and I'm going to get back on topic, but they want to assume our identity without all of the hell that went with it. Because I would ask them, when was your children sold? Okay. Name one time that a whole nation of people was just distributed all over the world. And they can't. They don't want that part. So you know what they'll say? Oh, we were the northern tribe. They'll say that. Oh, we weren't a part of the southern tribe. Because with the southern tribe came the punishment of the curse or of the turmoil. Or we was the northern tribe. We went through ours in Assyria. No, it don't matter where you was from. You're going to feel this thing no matter where you are. Okay, here we go. Armageddon, chapter verse 16. And he gathered them together in a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. Watch. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, it is done. So there's a temple that's in the heavens. Just like there's a temple here, there was a temple that is in the heavens. In the heavens. What is the temple like in the heavens? Somebody tell me. What does it mimic on the earth?
Yeah, the same one here, already.
It was like the tabernacle that moved.
It was like the tent tabernacle. Yes, sir. It was just like the tabernacle. The instructions that the Most High brought when he came to Sinai, it was just like the tabernacle. Watch. And there were voices and thundering and lightning. There was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. And the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. So the cities of the other nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before Yah to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed Yah because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. Any questions?
Hi, Sister Ann, I have a question. I thought that when we were in the wilderness at one point or another, they were going to come after us.
Well, Sister Zanaya, that is a whole other issue. And remember, I told you about that whole wilderness thing, because there has to be a point. I don't want to confuse the people, but there has to be a point, from my perspective and what I read, is that we're going to be dwelling somewhere over in the Middle East, safe with our animals and with our gold, and then Russia is going to come up against us. And the question is going to be, are you really going to come up against the people of the Most High? So there's always been that discrepancy there because of that particular scripture. And I'll get it once we get finished with this, okay? We'll definitely go over that. Don't let me forget, because I want to go over that. Okay. Because there's so many different scriptures that say the Most High is going to allure us back. You know what I'm saying? And there's a situation where it says we're going to have to run into the wilderness. We're going to have to go in haste. And then there's scriptures that say we're going to be taken back over in boats. And he says, I'm going to allure you back. So, I mean, you know, those are the things that we have to go before the Most High and find out, because that particular scripture does say that we're going to be dwelling safely there, and that we're going to have our animals, and we're going to have our gold and our silver. You know, just like we was in the wilderness before, we had our things and we were there, and that they're going to come up against us, and we may be in that place. We may be. You know, what if the king of Jordan says they can come back? We'll secure a place for them close to Mount Sinai, and they can come back. And they'll be safe here, and they can come back here to where we are. And everybody goes back there because that's what we're supposed to do. We're still in the wilderness.
Yeah.
We're still there. You know, and we are dwelling there and living and being separate from everybody else and building our culture again and doing all the things that we normally do, and then all hell break loose all over the world. Because we're not talking about America. That's something totally different. Once we get over there, everything will be focused on the Middle East. Because they're focusing on it now. Do we have any questions in the chat?
Yeah, well, someone posted that the question I asked, you could find the answer in Ezekiel 38, chapter 38, verses 11 and 12.
Okay, we're going to definitely go over it once this is over. I definitely want to go over that because anywhere we go, we're going back. You got to understand something about the land. The land is not that little slither or piece of stuff they call Israel. It's a huge amount of land mass. So anywhere he puts us, when we go back, we're going to still be on our own land. Huge. It goes into 4 or 5 different countries. We don't have to go back to Jerusalem to be on our own land, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, it's just like Cincinnati. All of Cincinnati is the land of Israel, and then parts of Kentucky is the land of Israel, and then parts of Indiana is the land of Israel. If he put us in Indiana, we're still in the land of Israel.
Right.
Yeah, I was reading that in the Bible, that it's awfully big, the land.
It's huge. It is huge. You got to think about it. As many of us that it is now, I mean, scattered all over the world, do you know we're a small number compared to what we was before? He said we're a small number. So imagine how, if we was in our full capacity, how much land we would have needed for us to be able to stretch out. All right, here we go. Isaiah chapter 2. Somebody write this down. Isaiah chapter 2. Chapter 2, verse 1. The words that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Yehudah and Jerusalem. It shall come to pass in the last days, that the mountain of the Most High's house shall be established in the top of the mountain. Remember we talked about that one week where the guy was like, well, I thought he was going to be in Jerusalem with us. And I said he will, but he lives on top of mountains.
I remember.
Remember? Watch. And it shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow into it. Oh, so it said all nations. So it's got to be more than just Israel there if all the nations is going to flow into this mountain. Watch. And many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Most High, to the house of the Elohim of Jacob. And he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Most High from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. This is supposed to be a period of peace. Watch. Any questions? Anybody have any questions about that?
Well, not about an earlier question. We'll get back to it when you finish.
No, go ahead. What's the earlier question?
Okay. Someone asked, it's a guest. So the Israel today is not the real Israel? Is that true?
What do you mean when you say Israel today? What do they mean when they say Israel today?
Little piece of land that they call Israel.
It's not all of it. It's not all of it. It's nowhere near all of it.
Right.
It's nowhere near all of it. It's a slithering piece. It's not nowhere near all of it. And when this is over, Shania, remind me to show them the landmass because it goes into 4 or 5 different countries.
Right.
That's how big it is. It's huge. Any other questions?
I find it fascinating. that you say that, and I just heard a historian this week say about we can't hear you. It's part of Africa because they had divided the landmass, but they never. This is the Middle America or Middle Europe or whatever. But he was saying that all that landmass is really Africa, and they're just taking land away from Africa. But all that Middle Eastern area, he considers Africa.
And that's a possibility because the Most High says, I think in the book of Joel, where he said, you have parted my land. Is that in Joel? Where he said he's coming back to judge them because they parted his land. You know, and that's very possible. So then begs the question of this, like we said earlier, if they make preparations for us to go back to a part of Africa that is considered to be a part of Israel, are we back on our own land?
Makes sense.
Uh-oh. I ain't gonna mess with you. I'm not gonna mess with you. Isaiah chapter 13. Sister Tonight, you got any more?
Oh, not right now. No.
Okay, Isaiah chapter 13. It says, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Now, this is when it says, lift up your banner upon the high mountains, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the noble. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. Now, this particular scripture deals with the giants coming back. When you read this in the Septuagint, it says something totally different. That he said, I have called the giants to come back to continue in my wrath or further my wrath. So this is going to be a war that he's going to bring everything that he has and his resources and his power to do damage to the other nations. We're not talking about Israel. Watch. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of the nations gathered together, and the Most High of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Most High, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of the Most High is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pains and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flame. Behold, the day of the Most High cometh full, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. So we know he's going to clean that place out. No question. So for all those Israelites that are over there now, they got to come out of there because it's going to be hell to pay. Watch. For the stars of heaven and the constellation thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. And I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. So there's going to be a lot of men that's going to be killed. There ain't going to be that many. He said, man, going to be precious. You'll be lucky if you find a couple of them from the other nations. Watch. Therefore will I shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Most High host in the day of his fierce anger. Any questions? So this is talking about this is final war before this is the final war. We're talking about things that are going to happen as the final war before the 1,000 years of peace. We ain't even got to it yet because all this got to happen first. Yes, ma'am.
This scripture was that
Isaiah chapter 13.
Okay. So
Isaiah chapter 13.
Okay. So you started at 10, and how far did you go?
Hold on, I think I started at 1, and I went to 13.
You did.
From 1 to 13.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Any questions? My grandson rolling his eyes at me.
I have a question. So where
Yes,
is
ma'am.
the giants at now?
Oh, that's a really good question. Evidently, they being held somewhere, aren't they? Oh, we get ready to see. Let's see. That's a very good question. The keys, that was right on time. That's Revelation chapter 9. The bottomless pit. Hold on, watch. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. So we know that. Okay, let me keep going. Any question? Hold on. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree. But only those men which have not the seal of Yah in their forehead. Okay. All right, here we go. And to them that was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented for 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. And in those days men shall seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses, prepared unto battle. And on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were the faces of men. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. And they had breastplates as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue has his name Apollyon. Woe is past, and behold, there comes 2 woes more hereafter. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard the voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar which is before God. That's the golden altar. There's the 4 horns. Where else do we have a golden altar with 4 horns at? Where else was this duplicated at? Because this was duplicated. Where was this duplicated at?
In the tabernacle?
In the tabernacle, in the 10th tabernacle. This is where we had another one with 4 horns of it. He's saying to the 6th angel, which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river of Euphrates. Now, somebody tell me, who are these angels and how did they get there?
They're fallen angels.
They're fallen angels. Yes, ma'am. Those are the fallen angels. Those are the ones that put the whole thing together for them to come in and for the 200 to sleep with the women. Those are the leaders. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the 3rd part of men. There go that 3rd again, sis. So those angels going to come in and they're going to slay a 3rd part of the men on the earth. That's not Israel. We still ain't talking about Israel. And the only way Israel is going to get done like this is what?
If they didn't leave.
If they what?
They didn't leave. They still trapped.
Or if they what?
Take the mark.
Rebellion.
If they all of what you guys said is true. If they don't leave, if they're in rebellion, if they decide to follow the people of the other nations, if they refuse to change, if they refuse to do all those things, then they're going to suffer with those people. Watch. The number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having a breastplate of fire, and of jankin, and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. But these three was the third part of men killed, by fire, by smoke, and by brimstone, which issued out of their mouth. For their power is in their mouth and in their tail. For their tails were like unto serpents, and their heads and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils, and idols of gold, and silver, and brass, and stone, and of wood, which neither can see, nor hear, nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their theft. Any question?
I have a question. And I'm not trying to be facetious or anything. I just want to understand it all. Sometimes I get confused. But now you said the seal, the locusts are going to hurt the people who don't have the seal of Yah in their foreheads. Is the seal the 144,000?
The 144,000 will get sealed as well. Yeah, we're going to get to that. I got you covered on all that. Just hold on. We're going to get to that. I promise. But those that are Yah is going to seal that they know not to touch. Because the 144,000 are men. And the Bible clearly says that they are men and that they are virgins and that they are to be sealed, not to be touched. So if that's the case, then that means me and you won't be sealed. That's what I was afraid of. That's why I was hoping to elaborate. Yes, ma'am. So that's not just 144,000. It's those that are written whose name is found in the book of life. Because those who have kept his law, statutes, and his commandments, those are the ones that the Most High is going to cover. But the 144,000 is 12,000 out of each tribe, and those are men. But everybody whose name is written in the book of life, those are the ones that will be protected. When did we first know about the book of life?
Was that in the book?
In the garden.
In the beginning.
Where in the beginning?
With Moses.
With Moses, that's right. Well, the Most High brought the book of life with him when he came on Mount Sinai. And for you all who don't understand that, we have a whole lot of YouTube clips out there that tell that whole story. So if your name is in the book of life, then you have been the one that the Most High has allowed to transition from one place to the next. From one phase to the next. And it's all out of obedience. It's all out of obedience. All right, here we go. So these people were prideful. And we knew they weren't going to do it no way because they don't even believe in the Most High. These people of the other nations don't even know him. He hasn't established anything on the earth yet. He's only given them an opportunity. They don't have an opportunity at this point. Because guess what? They don't want to know him. Because if they hate us, what do you think they feel about him? Because we are a mirror image of him. They all love God as long as they can control the story, but walk up and tell him that he's black with nappy hair. And see the reaction that you get. Yeah. And first thing they say, well, why does color come into it at all? It's because it's mentioned in the book. It has to matter. He mentioned it in the book for a reason. Why do you have an issue with color? Because he mentioned it in the book.
Down there, but when the Holy had taken a picture of Nebula, and they called it the Eye of God because they had blue eyes with a white background on it. They called it that, the Eye of God. And they kept on posting that, all throughout. And they're still doing it. Now, the same telescope took another picture of a face in deep space, and this face was the face of a black man.
I got that. I saved that picture. I sure do. I have it.
Yes. And if you notice, if you go up on, if you try to find that picture online, it's not out there. They talked about it briefly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly, eyes, nose, lips, skin color, and hair.
Yeah. Clearly. But you know that these are not y'all's people because they don't accept who he is. So if they don't accept who he is, they're not going to accept who you are.
There you go. That's it.
But religion is a multi-billion-dollar business.
Mm-hmm. Based on deception.
That is. It is. And that's what others say, based on the God that the Most High gave them. They're just trying to make their God the God of the Bible, and it's not. It's not. Not. They don't know him. They can't give you something they don't know.
They don't know him. They don't know him.
They don't know him. Mm-mm.
The Almighty said, Israel, you are I have only known.
Yeah.
I haven't dealt with any other nation like he's dealt with us.
No, that's right. So this stands the reason that they won't repent. They're not going to repent.
That's out of the question.
They're not going to do it. So they're basically putting a nail, like you say, in their own coffin because they're not going to repent. They refuse to accept the fact that it's not a white-dominated world, that it's not a white God.
Mm-hmm.
They won't. And then when you watch them, because a lot of them are on YouTube, and a lot of them you see when you listen to them, it's catered toward them. They will not acknowledge the fact that God is black. They will not do it. Haiti, none of them.
And also,
they won't.
Also, when you look at that the way they are treating the earth, they are destroying the earth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, they live here just like we do, but yet they are destroying the earth, messing up the air, the ground, the water, and before you know it, the food supply is dwindling.
They treat the earth just like they treated the slaves.
Hybrid food for hybrid beings, I'm telling you.
Yeah. They rape, rob, destroy, you know, all that. They're doing
They
the
got
same thing.
you know, with all of these, they got a mass of plastic bottles the size of Manhattan.
An island.
That's these folks right here.
They don't care.
Sister Aina, someone in the chat wants to know if that picture can be posted in the chat.
I will try to, you know what I'm telling them? Let me say this. I have most of my things still in storage, and it's on my other computer, but I did save it, and I will try to bring it up because it looks like a black person, and they can't dispute that, and they refuse to acknowledge that because it's too much for them to accept. And that's just real, honest truth. Yeah.
Well, it's written in the scriptures, man, that his feet look like burnt on the stool that looks like burnt grass.
Yeah, you know, are you reading from Revelation 17? Are you starting to
Not
read?
yet.
Okay.
I'm getting ready to. I'm definitely getting ready to. I think that's my next chapter.
The 21, you have a verse up there, but I don't know where that came
This is the last of the chapter before. Now we're in Revelation 17:1.
Okay.
Watch, here we go, 17:1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Now who is that?
America.
No.
Statue of Liberty.
No. Somebody said it. Who just said it? What'd you say?
Wrong.
That's Rome.
That's right.
Rome. Whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away into the spirit, into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones, and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her head was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abomination of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. He said, what is that? And the angel said unto me, Wherefore doest thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carry her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. He said, The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into position, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose name was not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. So from the foundation of the world, before this thing was even started, the Most High knew who was going to make it. He knows who's going to make it on this line and who's not.
I agree.
He brought the book with him. He knew who they were. He know who they are. Now, I will say this. No, I ain't going to say that because I messed up. Y'all won't never let me stop talking. Go ahead.
Where's the book today?
The Most High got the book. He's talking about where's the book. We don't have. We don't have the book. He got the book.
Didn't Daniel say something about the book at one time?
He said, seal up the vision, seal up the book, for the vision is not yet. That's something else. That's a vision Daniel saw. But the book of life, the Most High has that in the kingdom.
But Daniel said that the book of life wouldn't be open until the latter days.
That's what we talking about, the latter days. This is what we at. This is the end. This is the end, what we at right now, what we reading here. Once this takes place, there's going to be no more wars after this. Say again? Say again, I didn't hear you. Okay, let's keep going.
Till the latter days. Well, it's the latter days, so we should have the book.
Right, but we're not at the point where we're in the latter days, but we're not at the end.
But we should have the book now.
Why would you have the book?
Not me.
Well,
you know how they find interesting. I'm just wondering, is it here because it says until the last days? When they say until the last days, that means it's going to be revealed again.
No, it'll be open, so you'll know who make it and who won't. You'll know whether you make it or not. You'll know whether you make it or not.
Right.
And you don't get a what you say, a peek preview. You don't get the preview to see whether your name is in it.
Okay.
You have to walk the walk and do what you're supposed to do.
That's right. I'm trying. I'm gonna give it all I got.
That's all of us, sis. That's all of us. That's all of us. Watch, here we go. He says, and here is the mind which has wisdom. You get ready to tell him. The 7 heads are the 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Where is the 7 mountains where the woman sitteth on the 7 hills?
Wrong.
That's wrong. So then who is the woman?
The Vatican.
There you go, the church. It's the Holy Roman Empire. Look, we're going to get to that. Hold on, here we go. And these are the 7 kings, 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he come, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7th that goeth into perdition. So we know the beast is coming up out of the bottomless pit. Who is that?
The Antichrist. The Antichrist.
No, the Antichrist is going to be a man. Who is the beast that's coming up out of the bottomless pit?
That's a giant.
That government that's going to be taking over the whole world.
This is going to be Lucifer that's going to come out of the bottomless pit to set up his government so that this thing can go forward. Is it system? Say again?
It's growing.
It's a system. Well, no, the beast is the enemy that will come and set up the system, and he's going to use this whole system to be set up. But the beast is the beast because we just read. Watch, we're going to get there. We'll get there. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. And they have one mind and shall give their power unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called the chosen and faithful. He said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are people, multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. So eventually they're going to turn on the Vatican.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to turn on the church.
They're doing that now.
Yeah. You're right. But Yah, wait, watch this. He said, for Yah has put in their heart to fulfill his will, to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast. Why? Until the words of Yah shall be fulfilled. His word ain't going to come back void. He basically put it in their own mind to execute their own demise. Just like Pharaoh. Just like he did Pharaoh.
That is correct.
It's the same thing as getting ready to happen all over again.
On a grander scale.
On a grander scale. And the one of which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. And what is that? What is it called?
Vatican.
America. Ain't it called Vatican City?
Yes.
That's what it's called. Why come it couldn't be Babylon City, or why come it couldn't be Persian City? Somebody tell me what prophecy did Daniel give that said it has to be Rome? He talked about the fourth beast, didn't he?
Right.
So he's talking about the fourth kingdom. So the fourth kingdom in the statue that was given in Daniel chapter 2 is Rome. Everybody come on, oh, that's America. No. America ain't even in here nowhere. The only reason America exists at all is because we have to be punished.
Yeah, but he's
Rome is running this right here.
Yeah,
what he's done to us.
Say it again, I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
His word says he's going to punish the nations that we just got into.
He is going to punish them, but this is not that. He's definitely going to punish them, that for sure. We just read about how he's going to get them all. But this great city right here, this is Rome. Because this city is going to reign over all the kings of the earth.
And if you look at it, that's exactly what's happening now, because the things that the Pope has done, they tried to arrest him once, and the guy who tried to do it got beaten up.
Yeah, they killed him, didn't they?
I'm not sure. I thought that they hurt him badly. They did?
I don't know. One of the guys who brought it out in the open, he's dead now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's the same person you talking about, but I know one of the guys who brought all this mess out in the open, they say he's dead now. They found him dead. And that's what they do, stuff like shoot you in the back of the head and say you committed suicide. No, but you know, at least everybody know that ain't true. It's like, okay, well, he committed suicide.
I guess the bullet does a U-turn.
Right. Yeah. Like, how do you do that? How do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so, I mean, you know, it's a no-brainer. It's like you just don't wait home. He's okay, so that's what he said. That's what's going to happen. All right, so he said it's that great city that reigneth over the kings of the earth. And there's not one city that reigneth over the kings of the earth. No, we have a nation that's trying to reign, but they still don't control the whole earth. Because they making war with each other. America don't control Iraq. And guess what? They putting sanctions and stuff on it through the UN, but they don't have total control. They don't.
Let me ask you this. Did you hear in the news about the Pope is supposed to be meeting with all these churches?
I heard. Yes, ma'am.
Something. I'm not sure, but I think I heard.
But y'all got to remember, those are his daughters.
You sure will. You got to say that again.
Because they come from him. They come from that system. The papal system.
Sure do.
If you go to church on Sunday, you Catholic.
You Catholic, you better say that again. Remember them little Sunday school books we used to get? That come from the Catholic Church.
Right. That's what the Sunday Adventists getting them too.
That everybody. And you know what opened my eyes to that is one of the Israelite brothers did a study on the founders of all of the denominations. All of them is Caucasian. The person who founded the Baptist Church is Caucasian. The Pentecostal Church is Caucasian. The Seventh-day Adventists is Caucasian. The Jehovah's Witnesses is Caucasian. We got all this stuff when we got off the boat. And we will defend it to the end. We will. All right, here we go. Revelation chapter 20. We got a little more. Remember I told y'all I had a lot to give you. I want you to write these down. And here we Revelation chapter 20, verse 1. It said, I saw an angel come from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. Wonder what he's getting ready to do. Wonder what he's getting ready to do. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. And he cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal on him that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season. And I saw the thrones and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh HaMashiach and for the word of Yah. And which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark on their forehead or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with the Messiah 1,000 years. So if they didn't take the mark, and they didn't bow to his image, they had to be a part of the tribulation, didn't they? Yeah. They had to be left behind, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
So that means that if you get left behind, you know what the outcome going to be.
Yeah, your blood is your testimony.
Let me read it again. And I saw the throne, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh HaMashiach and for the word of Yah, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. I think I went back too far. Hold on a minute. Let me go back again. And which had not worshipped the beast. They had not worshipped the beast. So in order for you to worship the beast, you got to be in the tribulation theory. Neither his image. They didn't bow down to the image. Neither had received his mark upon their forehead or in their hand. They didn't get chipped. And they lived and reigned with the Messiah 1,000 years. So if you don't make it to the wilderness, and if you don't make it when we say leave, there's a great chance that in order for you to make it, you got to get your head cut off. Brother Yerushalayim, did you see thousands of guillotines?
That is correct, ma'am.
He saw thousands of guillotines ready to be able to execute this thing. He's seen it with his own eyes. Thousands of them. Already in play, ready. Watch. And the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. He said, blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power. That means you already made the cut. You've gone from mortal to immortal. If you make it in the first resurrection, you ain't got to worry about the second one. But they shall be priests of Yah and of Yahweh and shall reign with him 1,000 years. He said that when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. And he shall go out to deceive the nations, which were in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle. and the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. Any questions?
So how many resurrections is it?
It's more than one, and it's more than two. I'll take you there. We're going to go there, I promise. More than one and more than two. But I will tell you this much. Oh, should I tell you this? I'll tell you this much. What we're getting ready to get into next week about the kingdom, you'll realize something about the kingdom when we get there. Because there's going to be two different groups of people in this 1,000-year reign. It's going to be those who made the cut, who made it in the those that made it in the wilderness, and those who made it through the tribulation. They're going to have to get their head cut off. And then guess what? So what I read, it's going to be some Israelites in the kingdom that are giving birth and having children and doing what they need to do. I believe those are our family members that died aforetime, never knowing who they were. That the Most High is going to allow them to come back. And they're going to be able to realize that they Israel. I believe. But that's a whole nother story I got to get into, because I got to be able to break that down for you and show you that in this 1,000-year kingdom, this 1,000-year reign, there's going to be nothing but peace. And we're going to walk around and we're going to look like them and we're going to eat and we're going to talk and we're going to do all the things that we're doing, but we're going to be supernatural. But the ones that are born are going to be born. And they're going to have babies. And the children are going to be playing in the streets. And they're going to be doing the things that normal people do. That's when Lucifer is going to be loose again for a season.
Yes, not like sin is eradicated, but however, the people that are living at that time, they will see the government that Yah was trying to give to them that they had rejected.
Yes.
And it also states that in the Old Testament that children, if a child dies at 100 years old, that is a curse.
Come on. Don't you teach my class. Don't you do it. Stop it.
I had a question.
Hold on. Let me finish with him. Don't you teach my class. Stop it. I'm saying. And guess what? That's when the sacrifice is going to come back. Because then, guess what? The Levites will be back in place. And the thing will be, now we understand why the sacrifice has to come back, because the Israelites that are regenerated again for this kingdom, they will have to go through the whole teaching of what the law is, what you do when you break the law, and they're going to have to go through the whole sacrifice thing all over again.
Well, what are these people doing over there in Israel? Like I said, they're building the temple again?
Well, they're trying to duplicate something that's not for them to duplicate. You got to understand that all of this is what's the word I want to use? All of these are imitations. They're trying to convince the world that they are the Israelites, so they're trying to fulfill prophecies that's not theirs to fulfill. And it's okay for them to say that they're us, but it ain't never okay for one of them to walk in the temple and say he's Yah. Because once he do that, that's when all hell going to break loose.
You know, they said that the embassy is going to house the new temple. New embassy.
At this point, Brother Donald, anything is possible. At this point, anything is possible. But
is that in Scripture?
Well, no, this is what they're saying. It's not in the Scripture, but this is just what they're saying.
That's written in the Israeli newspaper. Yes, I get that.
Oh, in their newspaper, not in the Scripture. Okay.
No.
So we definitely gonna get into the whole 1,000-year reign. And, you know, because once he has this battle with the rest of the nations and he goes into this 1,000-year reign, those family members, because think about this, if we're going to go to the white throne of judgment, it is not God's nature to bring an Israelite before his throne, and they never knew who they were. They were born and they never knew they was Israel. He's going to have to bring those people back so that they know who they are and then have the opportunity to make the choice to do what it is that they do to serve him. That's why Satan won't be loosed again for a season.
I got a question for you.
In my opinion, yes.
You saying that the sacrifices will be starting again?
Yes, they will.